My mic was muted. Ha ha ha. Joke's on me.
For all you lip readers in the audience, please do it, intervene and provide subtitles. Like, we'll get the community thing going on here, Take two.
Beep. Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and envies. Welcome to Warui Deshou's Stream of Thought. This is episode 8, the Ocho. Banana fish.
Banana fish episode.
Le banan du fish.
This is a banal story, which, in certain other shows I would feel would be very, self-aware, actually, but surprisingly enough, that's not how I feel about the quality of banana fish as a whole.
No,
so.
and please, members of chat, yo, Tallulah Bell, hello, Go Atomic Robot, evening, Loss, let us know. Sorry.
I didn't realize Tracer was guest starring on
I couldn't resist, love.
Oh.
The cavalry, etc., etc.
You know what I wish was here?
Etc.
A big bottle of whiskey. Because if we're going to start doing this, don't make me crack out the Zyvox voice. Jesus Christ! No.
Please.
Not doing it.
I would.
No.
You have to get a mask.
No.
You have to get a mask to wear.
It would have to be a really goofy and terrible looking mask. It would have to be really, really crappy. It would have to make the suits from 1960s Star Trek look impressive by comparison. It would, we're talking some Amazon, bargain basement bullshit here. So I'll get on that at some point, but no Zyvox voice tonight.
Yes, I want to see it. As one of my favorite bits that is intentionally terrible is on the Dan Le Batard Show YouTube stream. They have a person who does a quote unquote Elon Musk impression.
Oh God, how can you do an impression of a man who's already a cartoon caricature?
Right.
It's impossible.
It's good because look, I don't even know how he sounds, but all the impression is they have a cutout of his face. And the guy just puts it on like a mask, and ends every sentence with "I'm Elon Musk," and that's the Elon Musk impression. We're going to Mars in my new car. I'm Elon Musk. The Musk mask, and that's it.
Man,
you gotta get a mask like that.
I really wish he would. Yeah, I really wish he would get in a submarine and just disappear forever. But I suppose that's a bit much to ask.
Unneeded submarine.
Yeah, nice one. You super classy there. Guy who actually saved all those kids, and you call him a paedophile. Nice one, Elon. How about building some actual fucking cars for once? I mean, if I were an ice cream van and I didn't sell, ice cream, guess what? I'd be shitting my job. So you might want to actually build some cars that don't blow up or set on fire. I mean. Just a hint.
Just a suggestion.
Just suggestion. Gonna throw it out there,
I would settle.
Shut your damn mouth.
I'd settle for him not being an asshole.
Well, I love the fact that he literally managed to tank his company's share price by nearly 20% or something by saying he was going to take it private, just as a joke, or whether or not he meant it as a serious or not. I'm like, nice one, great job there.
I didn't know about that. That's glorious. Good job.
Yeah.
Well,
he is a colossal imbecile, and he's got a name that makes him sound like a C-list, fucking character from Star Wars.
I thought you were gonna say a sort of exotic cologne.
Tesla probably do sell colognes. Come to think of it, no. What's the spell of failure?
Yeah. If you want to smell like a pretentious asshole, a man who thinks he's genius but actually isn't.
Well, to be fair, con men are generally fond of cologne, so maybe it does fit.
That's true.
There are some shade on Elon Musk. Anyway, let's not talk about this particular criminal who's hiding in plain sight. Let's talk about some other set of criminals.
Man, that's a good segue. I was gonna talk about mine, which is less good than yours was gonna be. Let's talk about things that haven't betrayed us.
I'm glad I'm not a shareholder in Tesla.
Boy,
Man.
I know.
Poor Nikolai, rolling in his grave and not even generating any static electricity while doing it.
Nikolai. Poor Nikolai.
Fucking appropriate his name to make your shitty electric cars. Great. I'll have to send you the Twitter thread, by the way, of someone who was working on like firmware and software for the cars and how awful it is, and how basically driving a Tesla, like you would honestly have more luck, like, you know, driving a fucking, like, you know, Reliant Robin that's on fire. Anyway, let's not talk about it. So, Banana Fish episode 8. I think we're going to talk about polls first, aren't we?
Well, we are. However, I hope the update shows up. The graphic up until just a moment ago read episode 7, so I just updated it.
Oh right, we're gonna re-review it. Right. Well, okay.
No,
let me go get my.
We're doing episode 8. It's the banal story episode for sure. Okay, so before we dive in to episode 8, though, we need to touch on
Twitter poll.
the Twitter polls from last week, which you can still vote on. You have a day left, just because of the way recording schedules have worked out, or streaming schedules.
It's all my fault. Sorry.
No, it's not true. It's my fault as much. But here we go. Which 90s gangster rap song about California do you prefer? California Love is winning via landslide. 84%. 84% of the vote. And I mean, I figured that's kind of a to be expected.
Bit seminal, that, yeah.
I mean, I did vote for going back to Cali. Just, I don't know. I shouldn't have even conjured
was it
a hope.
Was it a moment of weakness? Was it
No. Because I stand by the vote. I stand by my vote. It's a vote of principle, and I'm not changing it. But I mean, California Love is amazing. It's a tough decision for me, but I see it was not a tough decision for most. Would you be friends with someone who hasn't seen Airplane?
I already know the results of this, and I have to say, like, maybe my standards are too high, and maybe I should lower them. But come on, guys, come on now.
You are friends with someone who hasn't seen Airplane, so
it's funny because we're going to get to a scene later on in this episode that actually was an Airplane reference almost.
Was it? That's great.
Oh, you'll know when we talk about it, because
Okay.
I really thought it was going to start turning out like Airplane, but we'll get to it.
Was it when they were on the actual airplane?
No, it wasn't. Good try though.
Why?
10 out of 10 for effort. Look, it's more about what happens, but I'm saving it, right? I'm just keeping that one close to my chest.
Okay, so that one's 70 yes, 30 no. And all our polls are pretty lopsided this past week. Are you, like Yulung, envious of Ash and Asia? 70%, 70%.
76.
76% say yeah, 24% say nah.
I voted yes because they both had magnificent heads of hair and I don't. So that's one reason for me to be envious.
Mira brings up a good point in that everyone who answered yes hasn't seen Airplane.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
True. So you can't rightfully vote.
Know. Yeah, if you've not seen it, you wouldn't know. So.
Oh, that's an excellent point.
Although I have to give shouts to Alex Schmidt, who's previously done the Future Comedic podcast with, and the pending Land Illustrious one, where he rightly pointed out that this could be an opportunity to make friends with people who haven't seen it and spread the gospel. And I'm like, yes.
There's nothing like introducing people to the thing you love. It's really great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Speaking of things we love, episode 8. Banal story. Let us know in chat. I think I started to say this earlier, but I didn't get it out. As is the case with many thoughts I have. Let us know if you know the literary reference for the title of this episode, because I do not.
Oh, I thought it was just a review of Elfen Lied, but hey, there you go. That'd be my my free word statement on it.
look,
or I suppose I could go it grades forwards and call it a piece of shit. But
yeah, that's more accurate. Because Elfin leads a lot of things, and all those things are bad. But I would not call it banal. I don't think it qualifies as that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Now it's, I guess it's fucking terrible. But okay, but pulling myself up out of the weeds of Elfin Lead. So
Every time.
Here we go.
Time.
let me run down the events of Banal's story, episode 8 of Banana Fish. So there is a call to Max's cell phone, and his wife and son are being held, or his ex-wife, sorry, Jessica, and son Michael are being held for ransom by unnamed mobsters at her home, and they're basically like, come here and get them if you want them to live. Okay, apparently, so Belle looked this up, and it's a 2-page long short story, but they can't remember who the author was. I appreciate the effort, but it's good to know that it is a real reference. But yeah, I didn't even Google search it because the title is so kind of. It seems like the kind of thing you would Google and never get what you were looking for. But all right, so Ash hands AG to Shorter on a platter here, basically. He, of course, doesn't really...
He didn't know.
Oh, well, yes. No, of course. We thought I speculated that he might suspect based on body language and stuff, but it looks like he was totally in the dark.
I mean, to be fair, they do go rifling for ammunition in the house before they go see Max's place. I'm saying, you don't need to. Sure, sweating bullets already as it is. You're fully loaded back right from there.
Exactly. He leaves AG and eBay with Shorter, thinking he'll protect them. Of course, he serves Shorter, allows them to be served up to Yulung. So Shorter, of course, is very bothered by this and starts to say something to Ash, and then Yulung comes into the picture from behind, and Shorter holds his tongue. Like the traitor he is. No, I'm kidding. So Yulung is, of course, delighted by this whole kind of occurrence. They left, they left them with you, and now here you are giving them to me. The next things I have in my notes are poor Jessica and poor Michael. Like,
oh boy,
they look.
I am legitimately surprised that any of those folks were still standing. I'm surprised she didn't kick the shit out of them, because I really got the impression that she could have probably fought them off. But well, unfortunately, no. Banana Fish is it's less optimistic than me, which is saying something. Probably more pragmatic about the chances, really. To be honest, I'm overselling it a bit, but woofed.
Yeah, like. It looks...
No one has a good time in this show. No one. No one's having a good time. No one's happy. Yeah. No one's smiling. Right. Everything's terrible all the time. And yet it's terrible in a well-written way, which is one of the worst things.
Right. So, like, Jessica looks like, and is the criminals allude to her being sexually assaulted.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, when... Because we get a scene later where Ash is talking to Michael, and Michael says, and then ellipses, and I'm like, oh, Jesus, every time an ellipses happens in this show, I just cringe.
Yeah.
Like, you can't throw ellipses out in this material without me thinking of the worst things ever. I mean, I certainly didn't imagine she was playing fucking Scrabble with them, so great. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm so mad that is not actually... sorry, Mira, I have to intervene. I'm so mad that I've just read that and that's not in the show. Because I would have... I mean, I'm not going to hold it against the show overall, but that would have been so amazing just to see a cold cock a guy with a lamp. Oh,
it would have been superb. I would wish I would have
satisfying.
Seen it. Yeah.
I have all three of them marked for a horrible, grisly fate. I really think Max is going to do something like take a sawn-off shotgun and like, okay, which body part am I going to blow off first?
Oh, he's gonna fucking snap on that one guy, the sunglasses, even tiny mustache.
they're all going to end up looking like Salvador Dali paintings by the time he's done. They're going to be a complete mess. And you know what? I'll be there like this.
Exactly. I'll be kicking
Holding
them,
up a little placard, 10 out of 10.
kicking the
like
pile
it's
of
the
flesh that remains. Fucking God. And poor Michael broke my heart, man. Like, so fucking just scared out of his mind.
I have to say, like, all the horrible stuff, I'm just at least very glad that Michael got away relatively unharmed. I was like,
Yeah.
I want to be able... I mean, I legitimately think that would have been going too far, so thank Christ. I mean,
I know.
not that, anything that happened to Jessica, like, was, justified, merited, or whatever. Like, it's all horrible, but, like, there are lines that should be crossed.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. At least they got out of it, like, alive. And boy, I just I don't know, man. I hope Jessica only got roughed up and that they didn't go beyond. Although, I don't know. I mean, knowing this show,
given the show,
and the fact that she was only covered up by a blanket, but no, she had clothes on because she, like, threw the blanket off to slap and hug Max.
Well, when she was talking on the phone as well, she was also fully clothed, just battered as well. So,
yeah.
No, I who knows? That's the thing, though. This show and this material likes its ambiguity to make you feel terrible and imagine the worst things.
Yeah.
I mean, Michael does say, and like I said, weren't playing Scrabble, they weren't playing Operation, and they certainly weren't fucking playing Buckaroo. So, great.
And Ash is trying to ID the perps and says, like, asks Michael what ethnicity they were, white or black, and he says neither. And at that point, he gets it. He knows what
they
the
were
fuck
Smurfs.
has happened. Yeah, right. He knows that it was an evil plot by Gargamel to. No, so he understands at that point. I think that his fake name is like Yao Si, but Yulung he knows as he sniffed this out before, but like he's like, okay, I thought, what did he say? Like, he left shorter there because he thought that it was a trap to have eBay and Asia unguarded, and that was in fact the case, and he realizes that. And so cut back to the house where they are, and Yulung has turned Asia into a living doll. And
I have to say, like, I want
a pin.
I know that acupuncture, right? I need to learn that how to sleep, because that's effective.
Like, then you would have to hire someone that you trust completely to come poke you.
I'll just do it myself, right? I'll get it here. All right, there goes my depth perception. Oh, right, there goes my colour vision. Oh, right, I've lost out feeling my fingers. Like, it's just not going to go. Also, eBay is knocked out by a use of tea that leaves him paralyzed but still cognizant of what's going on.
Which is pretty, like, kind of amazing. Very specific. He's totally, like...
Relevant for a point about Yulung I'm going to make later, though, actually, funnily enough.
Okay.
That'll be relevant for later.
Okay.
So put a pin in that, funnily enough.
Hey, okay. I gotta give you the applause for that one.
It was pretty bad, I'm not going to lie, but I thought, you know what, I'm never going to have a chance to get it again, so...
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that. So, yes, Eiji is going to be given to Dino to be one of his toys. And remain as a living doll.
Great.
Which... Man, this whole that whole thing conjures up some really. So I've been reading Infinite Jest lately, and there's an incredibly disturbing stuff in that book that happens to basically living dolls of a certain type. Hello, Luther. And so this scene made me think of it, and I really, God, like, both of them are bad. Like, the potential of what could happen to this character I know and love, and what actually does happen to a young lady in the awful story. Well, that's not an awful... I mean, the story within the book is... It's awful to hear about because you know that this kind of thing has happened before. But no, the book is quite good. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. And yeah, eBay, as you say, is left behind to tell the tale to Ash. To tell your friends about me. And Shorter, of course, tells eBay as he's leaving, I'll die before I let them lay a finger on Eiji. Which is not what I thought he was going to say. I thought he was going to say, believe me when I say this. I had no choice. But he says, believe me when I say this, I'll die before I let them touch him, which is
No. Clearly he was going to say, right, you're going to be very groggy when this is over. There's a pot of coffee in the kitchen. You just warm it up, you're good to go.
God damn it.
I'll go get you a breakfast roll on the way back. I mean, do you want Subway or do you want 7-Eleven?
Believe me when I say this. The coffee here is terrible. When you get up, you'll want to order out.
It's decaf.
It'll do nothing for you. Okay, so then Arthur. Yay, everyone's favorite. Yeah. Arthur's Osa returns. And he is there with the Lung family. And it is, I guess, his job to be the courier that brings Eiji back to Dino. But Shorter confronts him, as we figured he would do, and says, fuck you. You'll never be better than Ash. Arthur says, well, we'll see if I'm better than him. Once he has undergone all this horrible trauma and suffering, knowing his love, Eiji, has now experienced the same hell that he has, being a slave of Dino. And at that point, Shorter grabs a knife hidden on his person. Nice job, Lung family, for finding that on the pat down. And says, well, if you touch him, I will kill him. And then kill myself. And, well, at that point, Mr. Lung, I can't remember his first name. It's said.
Wang, I think.
I think Wang Lung is the one in New York. I think this one is like Hua Lung, but I didn't want to give the incorrect information. But I think Wang is in New York, I would say. I'm almost positive about that. I just can't remember this guy's first name. Anyway, he just has a nice laugh about it, and Yudlung is doubling over laughing. So don't be rude. I found that very funny, and they're like, look, Arthur, we'll figure it out. We'll talk to Dino. Just go away now.
I'm literally surprised that Yulong didn't just throw a little pin under his hand and go, whoop, and then just been shot his neck. And he's like, I really can't catch a break, kind of.
As he's falling, the pause, and then the what's that fucking show? The Jason Bateman, Arrested Development narrator voice, the Ron Howard, and that's what I knew. I was fucked. Yeah, so Arthur goes away, and then we have what I think is a really nice moment. Despite the way the moment's introduced being pretty exposition-y, Arthur, the Return of the Trashy Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
Thank you, Luther, for that.
He's a bad imitation of everything. He's a bad Dio. He's a bad Super Saiyan. He's just bad all around.
Yeah.
Really, no one Arthur.
So, Trashy Super Saiyan. That's really good. But no, there's this nice moment between Yutlung and his brother. And his brother is asking him if he remembers what happened to the woman who bewitched father's heart, or something corrupted.
Yeah.
Which is, putting the pieces together, this is Yulung's mother, who's different from the rest of the other siblings' mom. This is, Yulung's mom is a lady who the father had an affair with. And Yulung, that's why I think that's probably the original reason why he's the like seventh brother unlisted on the family documents, like under the table, and then they decide to employ him for criminal purposes. And it's like I still remember I was 15, and of course, despite us being half brothers, you get my heart aflutter, Yulung, says Hualong, and. Like, of course he does. And you look just like your mom. And Yulung was only 6 when this happened. And, boy, that's rough to see your mother. So I was 6 when my biological father died. And, of course, my mother had the good sense to, like, not allow me to go near the scene. But Yulung has vivid memories of his, mom, like, covered in blood, dead. And that's got to be very traumatic. And we find out later in the episode that he's been keeping all that in his heart to serve it up ice cold later. But like the way the moment was introduced was, I felt a little awkward. It was like, I still remember the day years ago when this, specific event happened. Like if someone was in my office and they were like, I recall the day 8 years ago. It was August, just like this. Whenever, this event
It was
happened.
Mildly cloudy
Yeah,
with a chance
like,
of rain.
The day that, of course, there's no need to...
I think the problem is it feels a bit unprompted.
Yeah, it was unprompted, and it was kind of exposition-y, like, in some ways. It was a little talking to the audience. But, I mean, I could forgive it, personally, because the interactions between them and the actual dialogue, I thought, was really good, and really well done and powerful. Very emotional. It was a very brief scene, but I thought it was really packed tight with character and good delivery, and it was fantastic.
Read on that.
So, the next thing I have in my notes is I'm so happy that like we can skip the perfunctory, like, how could you sell us out, Shorter? I thought you were my guy. You know what I mean? Like Ash knows. Like he's puts 2 and 2 together. Like, okay, Yulung's Chinese.
He has a sister, yeah,
that lives in New York. The Wong family clearly, like, yes, he knows, like, but and it's because he knows Shorter. I mean, he wouldn't do that for just anybody, but he has this deep relationship with Shorter, trusts him, and so he's able to deduce what's happened, and that he was forced into this. And the next line I have is, who the fuck is Skullet? Because this
Skullet. Like, where did he come from?
I mean,
did he get through like a secret? Like, did he have a
how
fucking?
did it get in?
I mean, okay, we learned he does have a panic room, so or like a secret room, so maybe he has like all sorts of secret entrances. It's the Batcave. I don't know, but like, Jesus Christ.
He's like, yeah, he's engineered some kind of secret entrance to his house. This would not have surprised me one bit. But yeah, who is this guy, like, in a super oversized suit? It looks like, when they draw him up close, it looks more form-fitting. But, like, that first drawing of him on the stairs, it looked like his suit was, like, way too big for him. And it's Dawson. Alexis, I think? Brother Abraham. Who we know being Dino's boy. Cut to Dino in a meeting room with Senator Keepod and Colonel Holstock talking about banana fish. Some unsavory under-the-table business happening. So, turns out that Dawson made banana fish. I don't know if we knew this before now or not. I can't remember, but it's like...
Well, it was you could probably infer it for the fact that it was confused, so like, had the details on it and such. I think that they put. I think half the details were there.
The decoy computer. Wait, who has a decoy computer in their house? So good.
If that was a decoy computer, it should have just blown up when he tried to use it. Something really daft happened. Maybe it should have been Trollface on it. I don't know.
You didn't say the magic word.
Yes, exactly. Or what about Kappa? I don't know.
Cap, right?
Yeah, Kappa's face just appears when Ash tries to put the password. Like, oh, shit.
Oh man.
I did find it a bit suspect that it was Windows 2000, so there were hints.
Exactly. This OS is so old. Why is it here?
That being said, if you really wanted to, mess with Ash's head, like, you should have put it on Windows Vista and then see how much trouble you have had to do it, get it going.
Yes, agreed. So the decoy computer is so funny. Like, I guess it's just there to send a signal to his phone when people are trying to fuck with it. Because that's how he knew there were people in the house.
Which is why he then came round to the house alone and unarmed when people could potentially be breaking in.
Yeah. Silly man.
So he's an intelligent man. He's just not got a lot of common sense.
Or maybe he knew where his guns were, but he's like, shit, they took the guns.
Is it like what does he do like that international rescue thing where he sits at the top of a teapot and next thing you know his gun rack just appears from underneath his sofa or something?
Yes.
I like to imagine that this guy's entire house is wired up that way. Like, if you've ever seen Wallace and Gromit, how Wallace gets out of bed with the little, reclining ramp? That would be him. Maybe that's why his suit doesn't fit properly, because he just got out of it, hadn't been assembled properly on him by the machine.
Come on, robot tailors. What the fuck? You're on the fritz, man. Okay, but we learn, yes, if we didn't know before now we know. Dawson created with his brother, Abraham, and someone else who's in the shot.
Don't you mean Jesse Pinkman? Because this was literally the Breaking Bad story. Like, we thought we could make money by making drugs, and then it even looks like crystal meth that they're making.
It really, But totally, they do the Breaking Bad thing where they're in med school, but instead of being a retired professor or a soon-to-be retired professor, they're starving students, I guess.
We made Breaking Bad jokes previously, and now they've actually come true, which is just amazing.
I wonder if the other person in the shot will come into play in the story, because I think there was a third individual besides the two Dawsons.
Maybe, but I think the two of them probably is sufficient for the story to continue like this. So we've got Dawson A and Dawson B. Man, the bit that follows and the bit that I found really funny. This is the airplane skit I was telling you about. Right. So I think we actually referenced this particular airplane skit, but there's the one in which the lady is terrified in the chair, and someone comes over and slaps her. And then, Leslie Nielsen comes over and says, "No, excuse me, let me handle this." And then he starts and then,
right, yes.
And then the next guy comes over and says, "No, I've got this." And then starts actually hitting her. And there's a queue of people falling behind, guns and stuff. So Dawson, Ash is about to knock the crap out of him, and Max says, "No, wait, hold up, I've got this." Bang! And then Abraham out of nowhere does it too. And I'm like, are we just gonna have a long queue of people
just
coming in here?
Just beat the shit out of this old man.
Pizza delivery guy comes in, right? Here's your pizza. Oh yeah, also you. Bang!
Oh, that was him. Okay. So Tula says they said the third guy died when he tried the drugs. In the anime, they said he gave it to his friend who died, and I wasn't sure if that friend was that guy.
That's right.
Yeah.
But as part of all this exposition drop that Abraham Dawson gives us,
Alexis
Abraham
Dawson,
one of the Dawsons,
Alexa Dawson.
One of the what we find out is banana fish isn't just a bad trip drug. It actually allows you to reprogram people through drug hypnosis, which apparently was something in the USSR. I mean, the USSR was into all kinds of crazy crap. So who could be surprised by that? I'd buy it.
It's like anytime you want to write occult shit in your mid 20th century European story, you can just be like, it's the Nazis, they were into the occult.
Yeah,
you could pin anything on late 20th century USSR for shenanigans.
What would it be like if it turned out that the Dawson's dad was Dr. Strangelove or something? Yes, I was rocket scientist in Germany, but now I am drugs manufacturer for the motherland. But anyway, but yeah, because of this drug hypnosis thing, you can actually basically reprogram people. You can just look them in the eye and right. In fact, I can't believe that this line was actually used. I'm like, is this from the material, or is this just them being almost a bit too current time relevant? Said, oh yeah, if you literally, hit a bit on the nose. If you say to someone, immigrants are pests, you should go kill them, then they will. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you don't need banana fish to do that. You just need to go on right-wing Twitter.
I know. Let's hope that don't. Let's hope that Alex Jones doesn't get unearth a supply of banana fish.
I think he's been affected by it, to be honest.
Did Roosh give it to him? Who drugged Alex Jones?
I mean, the man is not even playing with a full deck. Like, the only card he's got is the How to Play Snap Poker Rules one, and that's it.
Yes. Yeah.
Also, he's a complete shithead, so fuck him. Anyway, moving on. So, that's what we learned. Now, I started piecing together as like stuff. Okay, the US government, they want this. Why do they want it? Well, my immediate thought was drop in water supply of a village. There you go. Now reprogram all the people in there to do what you like. Or even, not necessarily even in foreign countries.
Army, yeah.
Not even in foreign countries. Let's say, you're the sitting president and, you've got a town or a city somewhere that's like leaning politically away from you. And you're like, right, I don't like that. I don't like that these guys are going to start voting in the college against me. So what I'll do, despite the water supply of banana fish, get me propaganda out there, my little campaign thing saying, like, vote for me and all's well. It's like banana fish has jumped, like, the drug that is at this point, from being something that was just merely dangerous for individuals to something that is quite literally a weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Ooh.
Like, this is like going up a lot. So it was communists instead of immigrants. So it was Charlie in the tree trunks. So, I mean, it was Vietnam after all.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, oh boy.
Oh, so yeah, okay. So communists in the manga. Yeah, I mean, hey, I guess they wanted to keep it relevant. So yeah, Breaking Bad turned into the accidental creation of banana fish. And but before we continue, I myself have to take a short break, but we will be RB.
All right, see you in a sec, folks.
Sometimes you can forgive things, but you can forget. You will not regret. That's why I'm chasing you. Listen to what I say, leave the past behind for a peace of mind. And every day we will fly, going higher than the sky. But you gotta love me, baby. Treat me just like a lady. Feel the breeze on your skin, chasing sunsets on the beach. I wanna feel wild and free. I'm getting used to live like Caribbean dream. It is all I need. You're my Caribbean dream. It is all I need. You're my Caribbean dream. Tell me that's all you need. You're my Caribbean dream. Tell me that's all you need.
Gifts and flowers to show on my mind. Just on buying open time. Romance is doing fine.
Dawson was explaining, that banana fish is, I'm trying to think of like what the it's literally like, the biological super weapon like you find in a lot of like James Bond movies or something like that, or even Mission Impossible. Wow.
Yeah, sorry about that, by the way. Just had to take a brief step away, but yeah, I mean, I guess like this would have happened in, oh God, who knows? I guess the dates in the manga where they made banana fish would have been like the 70s, maybe the 60s.
If it was Nam, it would have probably been
The
the
60s.
60s, I would say, yeah.
Yeah,
Because Nam
70s.
didn't conclude until the 70s, but the bulk of like what people know as the Vietnam War was in the 60s, even though it also technically started in the 50s because of France getting involved.
And so, and this is
I had to research that, funnily enough, actually, for the novel I'm writing.
okay. And so this is Iraq, they say, or right? And I guess they mean the turn of the millennium stuff. So maybe this would have been the 90s when they're doing this, when they're creating banana fish, or maybe like the early 2000s, the early aughts, as they say. So anyway, we covered that ground. We did the bad turipu, and which I love the fact that they say bad trip in English. It's great. So yes, Abe tested it. Ultimately, even after it killed his friend, he tested it on soldiers in his unit, like Griff. And so then the airplane gag ensues. And I'm skipping ahead, I think, a bit here, but we then cut to the Lung family in California, or no, I think they're in New York, because they have taken the plane to take Ash's bait, Eiji, to Dino, and Dino, or sorry, the Lung asks, Wang Lung asks Yu Lung about banana fish, and Yu Lung tells him, look, banana fish doesn't concern us. It's just meant to be an assassination drug that's untraceable.
I think that'd be pretty useful for a mob family. I'm like, I get what Yut Lung's trying to do here, because he's actually playing half dumb, because he's actually figured out more. Like, he's basically on the same page as the rest of the gang back in, California. Quite how he's done now without discovering the room, I don't know, but whatever, we can all that. But he is playing dumb because, as it turns out, he does indeed have his own agenda with regards to his family, quotes on quotes, because I don't think he would describe family without putting big air quotes around them, especially with the way they treat him and continue to treat him. So there is that.
Right. And his brother doesn't believe him. He chokes him. It's like, why didn't you get the data? Are you telling me Ash Lynx was too good even for you? And, Yu Lung kind of plays it off like, yes, but the brother, his older brother, I guess the eldest brother, from what we know anyway, Wang, is like, look, don't forget I can snap your scrawny neck at any time. Doesn't believe him. And so at a later point in the show, Yulung is, I guess when he's accompanying Arthur and Eiji and Shorter to Dino, he is made up and has what looks to be like a traditional dress on, and his hair is done up and everything, and he's meant to be like, since Dino doesn't really know he exists, he's supposed to just get close to him and find out what he's really up to. So he is a spy. And as this point, like in his we hear Yulung's inner voice, and we come to know what his real motivations are, right? I mean, he remembers not only that his mom died, he remembers that his brothers killed her. And he's been harboring that shit. And he says, if I can't escape, then I'm going to take them all down with me. And that's why, as you say, he keeps information from Wang Lun. And so the whole airplane punching thing sort of begins when I think they back at the Dawson house, Ash and Max, ask him why he didn't destroy it once he knew of its lethal effects.
This is the point where he's, I was hearing dialogue, but I heard it in a particular voice because of his reasoning. And his reasoning was, well, I'm a scientist. I can't, get rid of a certain side creation. I just started hearing it in Dr. Franks' voice. I was like, oh, God, it's this crap again, isn't it?
Yes, hello. I could not get rid of the fish. It was new discovery. Had to, keep it even if it is very bad and offers no use to the humans except for destroying them.
We really are linking together all our shows here. We've got two asshole doctors here who, despite any, ideas to the contrary, don't give a crap about ethics or anything like that. Like, oh yeah, I just discovered a wonder drug that can, wipe people's minds and let you reprogram them as you want. Should I, destroy this, or should I keep it as a scientific curiosity? Because there's no way anyone will ever want to, use that for their own ends. It's not like the government might want to use it, or criminals or something. I fucked up. I fucked up really bad, haven't I? Oh dear. Seriously, I think generally speaking, if we keep this going now, we're going to have a scientist a season at this point who is just completely, utterly without morals or ethics, and then he makes a big boo-boo, and I was like, forgive me, I didn't know what I was. And I'm like, oh, shut up. And by the way, prediction.
Trot out Jeff Goldblum, right? From Jurassic Park. You didn't stop to think. You were too busy wondering about whether or not you could. You didn't stop to think about whether you should.
Prediction, by the way, 20 quid says there's a proof of his loyalty. Was it Abraham who's the other one? The guy who was in Iraq? I'm going to bet that when they ship other Dawson, I forget his first name, Alexis Dawson, back to Dino, Dino's like, all right, Abraham, you know how to make the drug because you've seen it. So let me test your loyalty. Here's a gun. Shoot him. They're going to get Abraham to kill his brother because at this point, from my perspective as a writer, his function narratively is served. He's explained, what banana fish is to our heroes and us, so we know we've got the full picture now. He's spent as far as narratives go. I don't think they're going to crowbar anything with his brother, because as far as I'm concerned, his brother exists only to be roadkill by this end of this show.
Yes.
I mean, Max is going to literally put his dorky fucking carrot top head between a car door, and he's going to be slamming it all the way until there's nothing but chunky salsa left. And you know what? I'll be happy if that happens. He's the right prick. Yeah, like that. So, yeah, I'm willing to bet you that's what's going to happen. Abraham's going to kill his own brother as a test of loyalty by Dino, or possibly by one of the Lees, who can say.
Yeah, that will make sense. I think that makes plenty of sense. I do hope Max gets some shots in, though. And hell, fucking Ash. The man who shot his brother. That'd be nice if Ash could get a little retribution. That'd feel good. After the punch fest goes down, turns out that the gang is all here in the hidden room, and it's very convenient for the Golzine mob guys because they descend on the house and capture them all, tie them up with little bindies, and kick Ash around a little bit. Disclose to Max that that he, the leader guy, is the one who did the stuff to Jessica, and beat up Max a little bit, and then proceed to burn down the hidden lab like fucking idiots. What? Why the fuck would you do that?
No
I don't
evidence.
understand. I don't understand.
No, they don't want to leave any evidence of it.
But I mean, why not?
They've got the guys who know how to make it. They don't want to leave any data around for anyone else to possibly find.
But why not just take it with you? Why not just take?
There's
the
a
computer?
lot of stuff there.
They have a lot of
look,
fucking muscly mobsters there to
Look.
carry the machines.
Look, boss. I'm not paid to move stuff. Right? I've got 2 skills.
Look, I'm a union gangster, and it says, I gotta do this shit. So
Exactly.
Fuck you, is what I'm saying.
Exactly. Like, they're not paid
Just
to do
kick him. Just kick him again and get him.
There's a lot of stuff to ship out there. Just touch it. Fine. It's fine.
Boy, but that's the episode. So
yeah, another downer ending. Great. Banana fish.
Talking
Referred the way through, and
point.
it's just been, pure human misery throughout. Jesus Christ. This is like, although admittedly it is a little bit more optimistic and, allows itself a bit more levity than my other favourite perennial anime crime drama, 91 Days, which I don't recall there ever being I think if people smiled in that show, they were slapped. Like,
Yes.
That's smile in this. You can't be happy in this. Like, and poor Angelo, man, he's like, man. When he died at the end of that show, it was perfunctory because he'd long since been dead, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It was it was a formality.
Yeah.
So, hey. Oof, what an episode, though. Jesus Christ.
I know.
mean, we're a third of the way through this show now, and I feel like this show is like putting so much stuff, like all good stuff, like there's great characters played, there's great drama, the conspiracies ramping up, we're learning more and more. Like, we're not being withheld information either. Like, one of the really nice things I like is that, compared to Frags, again, to bring it up as a more recent example that you might all be familiar with, we're getting impertinent world-building information being dealt out at a reasonable pace. We're now a third of the way through. We know what banana fish actually is and what the stakes are if, it's distributed en masse, especially to these corrupt criminals or corrupt government officials. So that's certainly a massive point in the show's favour. Like, information's being nicely doled out at a reasonable pace, and it's keeping me engaged. It's not getting me there going, "Okay, say something, you piece of shit."
Is anything going to happen this episode?
Well, if it was the show we've reviewed previously, the
That's what I
answer was nope.
Yes.
No, of course it wasn't. Of course it bloody wasn't. Don't be daft.
Man.
Oof.
Yeah, you don't. You certainly don't have to strain to like this very much at all, I would say.
Yeah, I'm really hoping. By the way, I mean, maybe this marks me out to be a kind of graphic, like a violent person, or maybe I love my violence and all that. But I really hope those 3 mobsters guess what's going on. I hope they get nailed to a wall.
Oh,
I want their deaths to be painful and slow.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy who was like talking to Max, like Max is going to probably end up concertinaing him into some sort of ball shape and break everything in his body and kick him around like a football.
yeah.
That'd be fun.
That would be very fun. That will be fun.
That would be good.
Right. All right. You want to begin our talking points?
I do.
Let's go.
I have one to fire off immediately, and I'm going to talk about glasses. No,
What?
really, I'm going to talk about glasses.
Glasses?
Hear me out. Yes, you heard me here on this,
Okay.
specifically sunglasses. So, I think this was a case in the previous episode, but it's definitely here in this one, is shorter sunglasses. Now, short throughout the entire show thus far has worn sunglasses, and generally speaking, when you wear sunglasses in fiction, like, often it's used to dehumanize someone and make, you can't make eye contact with.
Mhm.
Throughout this episode, when Shorter is trying to tell, or like he's on the verge of telling Ash, like, Ash, long that this guy here, he bad. He real bad.
Yes. Okay.
Like, great acupuncture. Maybe not so much at tea making. I mean, maybe Yutlong's tea was not, poison so much, it was just a really, really bad blend. I don't know. But every time he tries to speak to Ash as himself to try and, connect with him and say something like, this is genuinely dangerous, like, to reveal the truth, that's when you actually see his eyes behind the sunglasses.
Yeah.
But when that scene happens, particularly early on, in which he tries to tell Ash and then just stops, says something else instead, then it just goes pure black. That's when his humanity disappears right in front of him. That's when he puts up his armor and his barrier to stop him from saying that out loud. I mean, who knows what might have happened if he'd revealed it. I mean, then they, his sister probably died, but maybe Yutlong could. I mean, Yutlong is, ridiculous. That acupuncture stuff who knows? Like maybe he could have killed Ash or severely injured him, but who can say? But that's a consistent thing throughout this episode: is that Shorter's sunglasses are used as a visual cue to depict when he's got his armor up, and also when he's genuinely being emotive. Like when he's speaking with the what we'll call the meeting room place, before they get on the plane, Brady's with him. Like when he starts protesting about Adrian, saying like, "Right, you fucking come any closer, and I'll kill him first, and I'll kill myself." Again, you see his eyes. Mm-hmm. So the show is making really nice use of that as a visual cue there to distinctly separate Shorter's moments where he's that's shorter.
Oh, that's shorter.
And that's shorter.
That's shorter.
Like it's a really, really nice sort of effect. Like again, this show is so on point, and I would like to imagine that's possibly a thing in the manga where I can imagine it being like a 2-panel thing. So think of it this way: like, your first panel is the one where you have the sunglasses, but you can see his eyes. And then, Ash replies, like, what is it, Shorter? And then you cut to the next panel. Sorry, wrong direction. I know you have to read right to left in manga, don't you?
Okay.
I mean, that would make Lando the Lustrous incredibly confusing. Like, wait, what? How did that happen, man? But anyway, and then you get to the next panel, and then you see that the sunglasses are black.
Mm-hmm.
So again, lovely little subtle detail here. Like the guys who are animating this, like even if it's adapted from the manga or not, are certainly making good use of it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really, really interesting. Like Shaw's probably as much of a bind now as Ash is. Even though he's a secondary character, we still feel quite strongly for him as a result.
Totally, agreed. It's an effect that's employed a lot, I think, with characters that have regular glasses, and
do you mean the classic?
And they're often white, the lenses in anime.
Yeah.
But when you see the eye, it can be very menacing or anything like that. But yeah, no, it's a cool effect. I'm very into it.
ネクストポイント
Sometimes used for comedy as well, particularly nerdy characters. I find,
yeah.
But this is a much more serious, dramatic use of the trope, and it works.
Okay, so my first point was about Alexis Dawson, the scientist who could not destroy the drug because it was a new scientific discovery.
Are we getting onto the ethics of whether or not you should let the genie out of the bottle?
Well, just the ethics of,
I mean, funny thing, just before you go any further, just to mention something,
okay.
LSD itself was actually invented by a scientist. It wasn't the creation of some random junkie. I can't remember his name specifically, but he was developing it as a medicine. And LSD is the thing that banana fishes often use as a temporal comparison for. So it's certainly not, there's certainly real life basis for, this kind of thing happening where, okay, I made this thing that maybe that shouldn't get out there, but, well, it's too late for that now.
Yeah, and I guess that's my question is, do you, I guess try to separate yourself from, if you can, or if this is even fair, the the perspective of someone like Ash or Max, in the abstract, right? It ought a scientist to keep something like that from being totally kind of wiped out. Ought they keep it existing in the world, or the data to create it or whatever, because science is, built on having this data, having all this empirical knowledge for us to build on and test off of, and it's a new species of thing, it's a new kind of thing. To eradicate it to him felt unethical. What do you think? I have my thoughts, but I want to hear what you think. And I think it's also well, let me just say also that if you want to even question the way I framed it, I think that's legitimate too, because I think it can be sort of convenient to say things like abstract yourself from personal entanglements with the people involved, when whenever there's no way to do that in real world scenarios. Like, you know, science is in those kind of situations will usually, you know, people will be affected, whether now or in the future, you know, even if we're not talking about some kind of crazy, like, hypnosis kind of drug. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Right. The first thing that came to mind when you were telling me about this was the discovery of nuclear fission.
Okay.
Because that is, apart from, I would argue, the internet, the biggest genie out of the bottle scientific advancement of modern era, of our modern age. And yes, we do have nuclear power now, but then we also had, of course, the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki as a result, and the threat of nuclear weapons in the world. I mean, there's still thousands of them out there in Russia and the US.
Yeah.
And that's always a worry. That's a worry now with what's happening in North Korea. It's not something that's easy to answer, but for me, I think that I'll speak to the banana fish example specifically, because this is what was relevant to us now. Like, I'm firstly going to be of the opinion that probably if banana fish had not been discovered by him, it might have been discovered by someone else. Now, am I saying that ultimately, you know, that makes it right that he discovered it in the first place? No, because ultimately he didn't, you know, do anything proper with it. But I'm saying that in the right circumstances, in the right environment, with the right ethical mindset, I'm not against the idea of, you know, scientific pursuit and scientific advancement. After all, knowing what banana fish is that exists and having it documented may very well then mean you know how to treat it, essentially. I'm speculating wildly here, like this is fan wank stuff, but I mean, let's also think for ourselves, like, you know, about genetic engineering. Can do that in theory. Like, you know, if you wanted to, you could, well, not saying that you should, but if you wanted to, you could entirely engineer your own kids to be, you know, dare I say it, blonde hair, blue-eyed, you know, that kind of crap.
But we don't. Without defect.
Without defect, yeah. But we don't. There are many things that we can do with our technology. That we've learned, you know, that we've discovered throughout the ages, but we don't, because we have ethics and morals in place. Now, am I saying that there are any, like, you know, positive ways in which banana fish that could be used? That's not a question I feel comfortable answering. I mean, I'm thinking it through as a thought exercise. I'm thinking, like, okay, what if we use it to reprogram criminals, but then there's moral and ethical concerns with that as well, about free will and such and such. I don't think that the actual pursuit of scientific knowledge and advancement in general is a bad thing. It's a question of what you do with it after you've learned it. If banana fish remained as a theoretical thing and no one ever else found out about it, or they kept strictly to clinical trials of the drug in order to understand its effects, that way if ever it did become something that harms the, you know, the population through criminal means, then they'd understand better how to treat it and handle it. I mean, you wouldn't know how to, of course, you know, treat heroin overdoses and the like if you didn't know about heroin and how it works in the first place. You'd have to experiment within the lab, like they do that with mice. So, and even then, that's ethically contentious depending on, you know, your feelings about animal testing. But broadly speaking, no, I'm not against it in principle. It's just a question of moral and ethical application on how you go about it that's important.
Right. I guess I would say, like, there's something about this whole argument that, like, reminds me of, you know, hateful ideas should be allowed to exist in the marketplace of ideas because that's the only way they'll be refuted.
I don't think the comparison's valid, though, because the thing about hateful ideas, though, is they already have their set moral, you know, and philosophical perspectives, whereas technology itself is amoral. It's a question of how you apply it. I mean, the nuclear thing I mentioned before, nuclear power is a peaceful method of utilizing nuclear fission, whereas a nuclear bomb is, well, the exact opposite. It's the most devastating weapon conceived by man. So I think that, again, like, it's important to stress that for me, if it's kept amoral and it's just purely scientific exercise, then I don't have a problem with it. But, well, pragmatically speaking, how often does that really happen?
I mean, like, yeah, the problem is, like, that these things don't exist in a vacuum. Like, there's always, like, there's always human context that they will be put into and applied to. And I mean, I think, like you said, you know, if you're like sort of forensically looking at past scientific breakthroughs, and you're asking, like, was nuclear fission worth it? I think this example has been brought up to me before, like, oh, like, you know, it's not exactly the same thing as nuclear fission, but it's like, well,
I thought you were going to say the biro then, because you put it on because you brought it up on the camera.
No,
like, was the biro a good
pin.
invention?
Right. No, like, people will talk about medical discoveries and scientific discoveries made during the Holocaust because German doctors were able to, like, experiment, you know, ad nauseum without ethical concerns and do all kinds of human testing. And, you know, we benefit from all these things today or whatever. Like, and I think this answer applies to that, and it applies to the fission. I think this is going to separate the utilitarians from the deontologists, ethically speaking. I'm of the opinion that, like, no amount of human comfort, enhancement, progress, you know, daily life upgrade is worth human suffering on the front end. That's an absolute for me. Like, no, so yeah, it doesn't matter to me the amount of people that have benefited from it. I think, I mean, I'm not gonna just getting. We could go off into some crazy places, but I'm not gonna.
We could be here all night talking about this.
I'm not thinking that, like, the people that unknowingly or even knowingly take advantage of those advances are, like, morally culpable. I don't think that you can draw that kind of line, but the decision to, like, or to push forward with it from the scientific community, or, like, just the creation. Like, if factored into that calculus as human suffering, then I would say that it's not worth it. It's bad. It's something that ought not to have happened. It doesn't
add up.
Yeah.
But
Hey. And so in the case of banana fish, in our returning to our fictional example, I mean, I think.
Well, the thing I was going to bring up, actually, just to go back to it, is that bear in mind Dawson's original intent. Oh, he just wanted to make money.
Mm-hmm. Well,
he wasn't coming at this pure angle anyway, to be fair.
Right. But let's say that he was, I guess, like, for hypothetically speaking. Like, let's say he's just, you know, in a lab, and he's like, yay, science. Yay, progress. Like, it's time to, like, fulfill the
I hope that's on a t-shirt.
modern project. And
get that on a t-shirt.
Experiment.
You know what? He would go down a treat in the Black Mesa facility. He would be there, perfect. Like, he'd be like, "Oh well, everyone's dying, and, you know, this head crab's fucking this guy's soul, but it's great progress."
Right. So let's say that that's what he's doing. Like, even if that's the genesis of banana fish, like, I think that there's so much potential harm there. He ought to have destroyed it. Now, you talk about finding a cure.
Mm-hmm.
I think what seems right to me is to do that once banana fish is out there in the wild. It's already been created.
Prevention, yeah.
Someone else
prevention is better,
like.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, I think the opposite. I would think, like, it's too. You're risking too much to keep it around and study it to look for a preventative. You know what I mean? Like, I think he should have destroyed it. I think he should have completely annihilated all traces of banana fish. No one would have had to suffer. And I'm just addressing the counter arguments that you put forward, right? You know, that it would be ethical to keep it around to make a cure for it. Well, there's no reason to make a cure for it if it's fucking been obliterated off the planet.
Well, the thing is, though, scientific discoveries don't exist in a box. People can discover them independently.
Yeah, right. But then
light bulb was kept on two different constants.
Yeah, calculus as well. Two different humans invented that on their own. But then I think, you know, once we discover that cancer is a thing, we begin to study cancer, we try to move toward a cure for cancer, I think it will be monstrous if like cancer was created in a lab and the reason that it existed was like, you know, people couldn't bring, you know, scientists didn't have the balls to fucking torch it because, oh, science. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I'm speaking more to the idea that once the genie's out there, you can't put it back in. That's the big problem.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I'm saying like I feel like I don't think, I guess maybe we just have different moral calculi. Like, I
love my lab synthesized drugs. They're absolutely amazing. I'm snorting that all day. No, I'm kidding.
No, I don't weigh, I guess, the fact that, like, what am I trying to say? That the genie could come out of the bottle anytime, or it might come out of the bottle. Like, I don't think that matters as much when you're making this decision. I think the decision is, ought you or oughtn't you let it out of the bottle?
I'm still of the opinion that I don't mind it as long as, again, it's conducted morally and ethically. In this particular instance, neither of those things apply, of course.
This is like saying you don't mind monarchy as long as kings are moral and ethical. Like, there's inevitably going to be horrible shit that happens because we're talking about human
advances have we made that were done morally and ethically, though. Like, we're going by the example here in Banana Fish, which is of this crooked bastard, like, right, I want to get rich quick, so by God, I'm going to cook some meth, and oh boy, this particular batch turned out to be something entirely unexpected. What am I going to name it? Right, let me go through my books here. Right, that's Science for Dummies, that's no good. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, no, I'm not calling the drug that. Banana Fish, there we go, we'll call it that. So, I think I'm speaking not necessarily to pragmatic reality, but more just to how I see it, like, you know, strips of context and strips of, you know, how people act. Because even then, like, you know, ethical research and such, like, you know, of animal testing is always going to be a concern regardless. It depends on where you lie. For me, I'm looser on it. I don't mind. I think that there's so many good things that have been discovered through scientific advancement. I mean, we brought this up on Frank's about Turing doing his work, you know, on the Enigma code breaker, which helps build the foundation for modern computing.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about this calculus thing that you mentioned is I don't even want to begin to figure it out. Like, it's difficult.
I think it can be more black and white than that in what I'm talking about. I'm allowing for gray. Like, let's let all the, you know, let's give all the gray area to progress and yay science. I'm not down on this is not an anti-science rant or whatever by me. I mean, you know, there are plenty, as you say, of discoveries that have been morally and ethically, you know, carried out and discovered, and then later on people figure out, oh, well, this scientific discovery can be used for something terrible or harmful, or not, or it's just used for. That's fine. I guess the specific thing I'm talking about is when scientists engineer something that they know it's going to have disastrous human consequences. Like, I guess, fission, like banana fish.
Well,
I think at that
banana
point,
fish was an accident, to be fair, though. But
then they knew. But he tested it on his friend, and he died.
And they didn't destroy it. Yeah,
and then Dawson still had opportunity to, like, obliterate it, and he did not. He couldn't bring himself to do it because of like the sort of fetishy science stuff.
Oh, that old classic, eh?
Yeah.
I'm going to stick to my guns on this one. Just say, look, I understand, like, you know, that the pragmatic reality is that not all research is either A, born of good intentions or of a good time. I mean, how much advancement on technology has been made through warfare, for example?
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah,
absolutely. Or there are just plain bad people doing
exactly.
The
The funding from bad sources. Yeah, no,
that
for sure.
prick.
Yeah.
But strips of everything, I am of the opinion that I don't think there's anything wrong necessarily with even finding these things out, because you need to know about them for, if ever they were come up with independently, and then care about otherwise, how do you deal with it? So, I mean, this is why you do research on viruses and stuff like that. But I do see absolutely where you're coming from, that, we shouldn't be making stuff deliberately to, destroy other people, mentally, physically, or whatever. If it's going to have a negative effects on human life, then we shouldn't be doing it. But also, there's always the question of how can you know? I mean, I'm not saying, what they did was right, and that's an excuse for, the guy in the Barfish, but let's think of the internet. How much horrible stuff has happened because of social media being a thing? Could they have known about it? It's entirely,
No, yeah.
untraveled, entirely untraveled sociological phenomenon. And the effects it has on people are still being worked out to this day, and probably will be for a very long time.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I mean, heck, this is a horrifying fact I found out.
You're talking about the gray. You're talking about those grays that I'm totally not like.
Oh, I thought you meant the grays as aliens then.
No,
you're talking 51 stuff.
The morally gray areas, or the things that discoveries that you don't know what the effect is going to be, or things that you invent that you're like, well, I can see all the it can have all these benefits. But no, I'm not even. I just want to stick to these very specific, examples.
Well, I'll boil it down.
Shit that gets
I'll
made.
boil it down. I'll boil it down to just simplicity for the sake of it. In the case of banana fish, I don't think I'm okay with it being discovered, but I don't think it shouldn't be discovered by that guy. If it had been done elsewhere, say university lab as part of a purely chemical experiment, fine, that's it. But a guy like him who's doing it entirely for profit and is in connection, criminals, and then doesn't, hide it from them or try and take it away from them. I mean, if he'd have let it remain, but never actually revealed its existence to Golzine or anyone else, that would have been something. But they inevitably found out somehow.
Yeah.
And they know about its effects.
Yeah.
So he must have told them that.
So again, I feel like.
Yeah. I want to believe that people, that scientists and science in general can be better than that. Although I will say in this case, when you've got a dickhead like Dawson, well, fuck that guy, man. I hope he gets more of an airplane, thing coming to his way.
Another kick line.
A very long queue.
Oh man, yeah, we don't have to have our entire discussion be about this point, so we can move on.
We'd be here all night. We could talk about it all night long.
There's a poll up, and I guess my closing thought will just be that I think
fuck you, Shadon.
No. I think that this is kind of where you see the limits of science, and why, I think empirical science is this incredible, amazing thing that has, in many ways that are entirely ethical, has made our lives exponentially, just meaningfully better in so many ways. But I think that there are domains of human life where it doesn't hold sway. I think ethics is one of those things. Science is blind to ethics that ought to govern it, because of course science is going to say, yes, science, hooray, science, push forward, keep pushing, keep testing, keep experimenting, fuck whatever shrapnel comes from it or whatever gets caught under the steamroller. And I think that is again, I think it's a blind spot. And so I think that's why other lines of inquiry or other kind of fields of judgment are still important for humanity. And that, I guess I'm saying scientism or science fetishism bad.
Yeah, no Dr. Franks is in real life, please. Let's not have people like that.
All right.
Okay, my next talking point. So this is going to be a relatively brief one, but I want to bring up again, well, I talked about glasses before. Let's talk about tea.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going for the mundane stuff here. So here's the thing, right? It's made very clear when eBay is poisoned by Lut Young's, Earl Grey tea, whatever, PG tips, PG knockout, Yorkshire tea, whatever the fucking blend is, that he can still hear and comprehend everything that's going on in front of him. And what then happens, just to recount the events, is that Luck then actually knocks Ash out with a acupuncture needle. Now, I just want to say before I bring up this point that, maybe this was a necessity because, maybe AG is not so, stupid as, see his friend, drink this tea and fall paralyzed, that, he wouldn't feel like, wait a minute, maybe I should drink this. But I thought to myself, why doesn't Luck poison his tea as well and just do that rather than, this amazing, ninja acupuncture bullshit? Because the thing is, right, he also makes very clear to, Chaucer that sorry again, tongue-tied. He made clear to Chaucer that, AG can't hear anything, but eBay can. So, he's saying all the horrible things that's going to happen to AG is going to be taken as a pet. But AG himself doesn't hear this. And I thought to myself, why is that? Why did he not, he doesn't care about AG. Or does he?
This is a very interesting point.
Or does he? Because he spared him, essentially, from hearing all this horrible stuff. I mean, AG is still knocked out cold when, they're in the meeting room with, the older young brother, and then when Arthur comes in. So he doesn't hear anything that what is going on. Even though, in theory, there would be nothing stopping, Luck from just poisoning his tea and then tying him up, putting a, wrap around his mouth or whatever, and then he can hear all the horrible stuff, and that would be, because these guys live on an atmosphere of fear that they create for each other.
Or, if you really wanted to fuck him up, have him be able to visually and orally process the things that Dino is doing to him without being able to move. I mean, that's really, I mean, he spared him that, if... God.
Yeah. So before we even, I mean, I've spoken about Lut Young's ambiguity in the previous episode, the whole moon-related thing, etc., and the looks that he gives. And even before we get the reveal later on, I feel this is a really interesting, point about what he thinks about AG, really. Okay, I recognize this kid's completely innocent. The part, sorry, I'm getting told. Right, never mind. I'll just carry on.
That's okay. Yeah, go
ahead. So the right, let me start again. So what? So I'm so lost now.
Okay, so we were talking about being spared.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry about that, folks. I've had a complete brain fart there.
It's okay.
So what happened there with him being spared? I think again this is foreshadowing Luck's ambiguity and maybe the fact that he's going to heel turn later, perhaps even before we get the information in the same episode, which I really really liked. I mean, maybe this is unintentional again. Maybe it was a strictly necessary thing because he would think to himself, wait a minute, my mentor's just fallen over after drinking this tea. Yeah, well, whatever. Yeah, I mean, AG's many things. He's naive, but he's not stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that was a pragmatic thing, and maybe it's completely unintentional. But I read it as again, nice bit of foreshadowing here. Maybe that Luck's got a bit more, morality and empathy than we might otherwise believe.
Totally. Yeah, that's super interesting. I hadn't considered much of that, so I'm glad you brought that up.
Next point.
I guess.
All right, you're talking point, man.
Yeah, this is a brief one, and there's not really a lot of substance to it, but I have to say, Yulung is pretty hot. That's my talking point. When he is when he has the blue outfit on and all the makeup, wow. Stunner, very very hot. And I liked the character. I mean, I know you can say like that the tragic, gay character has been done to death and can be harmful if it's perpetuated over and over and over, and all that rings true. But like, just judging this instance of it, man, I really like Yulong. I mean, he's just kind of a cool badass now that I feel like people perpetually underestimate, including his brothers. And I think that's
gonna be their downfall.
I can't wait. I can't wait until then.
I can't wait when Lot is just gonna literally whip out like 20 acupuncture needles in both hands. He's gonna start throwing them everywhere.
Yes.
Like, he's gonna catch his brother in the neck. It's like, no, not like this.
I thought we were cool. We talked in the plane. But when he said like, do you resent it? Like, and he just said, it's all in the past. Like, yeah, motherfucker, I resented it when you killed my mom. Die. Like,
yeah.
I cannot wait. And boy, gosh, what an intriguing character. And I mean, and part of me, having also lost a parent at age 6, there was an attachment there. Like, yes, like now they're very different. They're both avoidable tragedies, my loss and Yulong's loss, but the nature of them was quite different. So it's not like we're like two peas in a pod or anything, but I was like, have, I guess, some degree of I was able to have some degree of sympathy and attachment before I found out. Like, before you find out that happened and he wants to kill the rest of his family, he is a cool character, but by the end of this episode, he is like a character that there's way more meat there, I think, and more reasons to root for him. Transparent though it may be that they want us to root for him now and want us to get behind him, I don't care. It worked. Let me just mention something here. There is actually a lot of commonality between Lut's character and Ash's, funnily enough, both in, at least conceptually. The way that his older brother treats him, copying is saying like, "You look so beautiful, you make my heart fall." Mm-hmm. I get the impression that he is treated differently, although still very much in the same way, as a pet, much like Dino treats Ash as a pet. Bear in mind also, the familial issues that they had as well. Lut's mother dying when he was 6, Ash's mother just up and going. Like, yeah.
I think that there is a lot more in common than both of them would like to admit about each other. I mean, they, have their own agendas to deal with, their own mob bosses here, the abusive histories that they've clearly had. We'll see how that develops, but I'm certainly, maybe this is part of why also Lut feels like sympathy for Ash, or like, finds him a kind of a challenge because, he recognizes some of himself in him because they're common elements.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Final talking point for me.
All right.
Now let's talk about, what was it called? Yard swings. Yeah, I'm going for more mundane stuff again. Bear with me on this. So, flashbacks to the previous episode, when we first meet Jessica, and when Ash is sat at the table and he says, parents are terrible and horrible, and I hate them, because you can't choose them.
Mm-hmm.
What I found very curious and reassuring is that when Ash and Max arrive to Jessica and Michael's place, and, in the aftermath of everything that's happened, Ash immediately takes charge, says, "Look, your mummy and your dad need to talk. You're coming with me." So he picks up Michael and takes him outside and starts talking to him. And then when he starts talking to Michael, he isn't merely asking for, information so he knows who did it, so he knows, who to start killing, because Ash is going to be a killing at some point soon. It's going to be a bloodbath. Ash is
going to be a killing.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute bloodbath. But the point is, when he starts talking to Michael, and Michael then breaks down a little bit, he actually hugs him and says, "I'm sorry that I made you remember all that." So I found this very reassuring of Ash's humanity, because for character who has been through the worst.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just call it the worst because that's what it is.
Yeah, the worst TM. Yeah.
Yeah, and who otherwise lives very coldly towards his fellows. Like, I mean, yeah, sure, he's friends with Shasta and all that, but generally speaking, he rules through the law of force. We saw this with Arthur at the in the first episode, and he is still a criminal, and he of course doesn't have very high opinions of parents. But how very fatherly was he during this time? You might know.
Yeah.
He might say, like you can't choose your parents and all that, and he might have a very disdainful opinion of them, but he's not closed off to caring or being empathetic about other people. And I'm curious if that's a relatively recent change in his character, given everything that's happened, with AJ turning up and, him starting to soften up a little bit. More evidence of what I've been expecting to see, which is, that he won't lose all of his edges. He'll smooth out a little bit, come towards the middle. He'll not be permanently, coiled up and on guard. He can, care about people. I mean, hell, the emotional intelligence he shows here in recognizing that, Max and Jessica need to talk. He's going to take Michael away and just, okay, maybe you shouldn't have, gone all good cop, bad cop, right? Give me all the info and all the eyewitness evidence. But he knew when he went too far with the questioning and just, gave Michael a poke. So again, for a character who otherwise, is completely badass, he don't fuck with this guy. I mean, you saw the gun down his trousers later on. I'm like, oh god, the metaphor here, man.
Nice rato.
Yeah, they weren't even being subtle about it at that point.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It makes me think of so you might not know this, and folks that are in chat that don't keep up with American football, Gridiron, might not know this, but there was a New York Giants football player called Plexico Burress. Look him up. I don't know how to spell Plexico. I can't remember. If you just type an approximation of it with an X in there and Burress and NFL, you should get this story. There was a time when he shot himself in the crotch because he had a gun right exactly there that he was carrying into a club. And so, pow. Right in the dick. I think in the leg. But yeah, that's always what it makes me think of when I see someone packing right there on the belt buckle. I hope Ash is not that stupid, though.
Well, remember, folks, always wear protection. Sorry.
Right. Yes.
Sorry, that was pretty bad.
Yeah.
That was pretty bad. But yeah, I really like that moment. I mean, like I say, for a guy who, though, lives and dies by force, and being, a gang leader and all that, he still has a softer side to him. He hasn't forgotten about it, even though he might come across as, not caring. That is still there. There is still that kernel of humanity in it. And it's growing a little bit. Admittedly, it's happening because of horrible things happening that require him to, do that. But it's there. So that's certainly something. I really appreciate that scene.
Yeah, that was going to be my final talking point, too.
Man.
And just just how tender he was with this boy. And, I'm sure Max is a good father, too. He strikes me as an empathetic sort of guy. Emotional, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy who's, withholding or his emotions or not in touch with himself, and he really loves Michael. But yeah, it was very sweet, those moments they had together. And as you say, I'm sorry you had to remember that. I had a physical reaction when he said that, because man, he just knows. In some ways, his mind is probably kind of stuck.
Well, funny thinking about it, to go on what Tallulah Bell said there, maybe he's saying that because when he himself went through that awful experience with that baseball coach, he didn't hear the lines, something similar said to him by his own father, perhaps.
Yeah, that was what Luther was saying in chat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. I mean, he knows exactly what you would like to hear in that situation, and yeah, I mean, maybe, I mean, it's not like he's gotten a lot of help or a lot of therapy to move on. And I know this kind of goes back to our previous poll, do you think he's broken? And regardless of whether or not you believe he's broken, I think there's so much unresolved shit in his life, and it would not surprise me, if he's totally I hate to say still a child because there's not really much childlike about him, but like, I mean, his inner child is probably just like crying out and very present, like very present in his mind, and very like cannot forget what that was like and what he lacked. And yeah, I mean, that was super, super sweet, very, very tender, and I really enjoyed those scenes a lot myself.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I think that covers the episode then, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Woofed. Another heavy hitter, man.
Yeah, not very banal in my opinion.
No, absolutely not. Jesus Christ. I mean, the show's hurting me in all the right ways. So that's the way I describe it.
All right, so is there something you wanted to put on the poll?
No, I've covered everything I want to talk about.
Okay. So, yeah, if anyone in chat has any questions or wants to know our thoughts on anything, let us know.
Should rate the episode as well.
I am. Oh yeah. I'm just going to. Oh yeah. We should rate the episode, and then I'll read the polls, and then we'll see if anyone in chat has anything they want to hear our thoughts on. So, what did you give this episode?
Well, Jesus Christ. I will give this episode a banal story, or a banal story, potato, whatever you want to go with. I will give it 4 out of 5 hidden laboratories.
Ooh, only 4? I thought it'd be higher.
It was legitimately good, but you were right about the awkwardness of that exposition with Lot. And, well...
Yeah. A tiny smidge of a wrong note.
Look, right, I am very, very harsh. I am very harsh. I am very harsh. You know this. You know I don't have I grade very lowly compared to relative to others. I mean, I still need to go back, although I really shouldn't, and just actually plot our grades for Franks all the way through. I mean, well, let me describe it for you folks. Just kind of hovering low, and
yeah, mine will be a lot more like a seismograph. We'll have some violent jumps up and then down. But I'm going to give this episode 4.75 bottles of sexy red eyeliner out of 5. For the pretty snake.
Oh, man. Tallulah Bell's asked in chat, which of our heroes do you think will get to kill Abraham, or would you want to... I want them to take turns.
Resurrect him?
No. I reckon they designate a part. All right, Ash, you get to blow a hole in this building. Or maybe they all hold the gun simultaneously. There's 5 fingers around the trigger.
Yes. 1.
Or maybe they...
2,
No.
3.
I've got it. Time up to a giant bullseye, and then just start throwing knives at him. There you go.
Draw and quarter, and each of them will ride a horse. Pulls them.
Yeah.
Not to be too graphic and medieval about it, but
it's what he deserves.
Yeah.
So
fucking Abraham, Jesus, what a douchebag, what a fucker.
If you want my genuine, legitimate answer, I think it's not going to be Ash, and I'll tell you why. Because I think Ash is going to have his killing moment against Arthur specifically. I mean, the OP has hinted as much as that.
I was going to ask about Arthur, but I forgot. So this is as good a time as any to talk about him.
Let's talk about Arthur. Mr. Loose Fingers that he is.
Mr. What did you get him sewn back on? We're not clear. So I know he got him. Did he get him cut off by Ash? And they're prosthetic, or are they sewn back on? Or
I think I said before, but it looked like he had them put through the finger cutting machine that they had in Kaiji. At the end of the E-card game.
That is an awful thing. Yes.
Oh, maybe we should make that a poll. Actually, who's worse, Golzine or the old fucker from Kaiji? Jesus Christ!
Oh, that guy. Jesus, he's awful. He's pretty terrible.
He looks like a cigarette butt that's come to life. He looks so withered and old and ugly. Man. But yeah, I'd be taking the mick out of Arthur all the time for that if I was Ash. Be like, look, did you get all the coloured stitching removed that your mum put in there for you? Oh, diddums.
The trashy Super Saiyan.
Yeah. How's your grip these days, Arthur? No?
Do you think... Here's a curveball. I can totally see Ash doing him in, but
I know what
think
you're saying.
do you think it might be like Eiji's first like kill or be killed moment?
That's not what I thought you were going to say.
Do
Actually,
you think I was going to say shorter?
No, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what in a second.
Okay.
That's a very strong possibility. Actually, I'm going to say no. Because to me, Arthur's death feels like one of the penultimate events, and I think that Age is going to have his kill or be killed moment where he actually does kill someone, probably at the mid to just after the midpoint. Because something as traumatic as that is not something that we can lead to the end, but I can't see Arthur dying early. So I don't think that's the case. The thing I was thinking you were going to say was I thought you were going to say that Arthur's actually going to backstab Golzine and take over his gang before the end.
Whoa. That's a good one. I like that one. That could so happen.
Yeah. Like, Arthur's clearly got ambitions above his station. And he wants to prove he's better than Ash. So how best to prove that he's better than Ash than by replacing the man who owned Ash?
Oh, man. Or
there's your reaction image, by the way, folks.
maybe it won't. Maybe it won't be like a calculated thing. Like maybe the frustration at not being acknowledged as Ash's equal or better by Golzine will just send him into a rage, and he'll just fucking scrag him, and then he'll just take over and want to hunt him down. Cause like, man, he just craves this acknowledgement so much, that yeah, I wonder at what point, because you can't see him getting it. He's not going to be acknowledged, and so. Will he die before he breaks, or will he break and do something fucking stupid? Only time will tell.
Possibility of it. I mean, oof. I hope that guy gets what's coming to him, though. I think it'd be funny as, I mean, again, graphic as it is, like if he loses his fingers again. In fact, can we have Ash do an imitation of that wonderful scene in Hokuto no Ken where the guy throws his arms back? Hey, you drop these. Just a bag with his fingers, and he like throws them back at him.
Oh my gosh!
You think you lost these, Arthur? It's okay. When you get sewn back up, you can start stiping up your medical expenses again. You'll be able to do that. You know.
Oh, all right.
Here, Arthur. I know you're struggling with having lost all your fingers, but here's a stress ball. You want to put in that hand, not this one.
I see you struggling. Here, have a hand.
I mean, I would have
offer you a hand.
I would have gotten you full blown gloves, Arthur, but instead I got you like those like knitted mittens with like the tops cut off because I know they would fit you better. I could be. Oh, this is bad. I could be so cruel to this guy.
Fingerless gloves.
Yep.
Because you don't need it. Okay. So we'll go over the polls very quickly here. Before we get out of here.
ツイッターポール
So, to round out our discussion of the episode today, would you sign up for Yulung acupuncture appointments? Yes is leading with 62% of the vote. It's early days.
I would, because it'd help me sleep better at night.
Yes, exactly. I would go just to hang out with the acupuncturist. Possibly. Should Dawson have destroyed banana fish? Is a particular way of asking the question. Should scientists eliminate new discoveries if they are only harmful? 79% say yes. Early days. And this one I've just put up just now is very early days. Only a couple of votes. Handful of votes. Golzine or the old man from Kaiji? It's 50-50 at the moment. So those are the polls. Vote on them over the course of the week, and we will.
What a crossover series that'd be, by the way, if we had Kaiji and Banana Fish crossover. Yeah. What's wrong with your face? They kept the art style exactly the same, so he looks completely out of place. Man, I need to watch the Tonegawa series actually, because that looks like it's a riot.
Yeah, it looks fun. It looks good. Anyway. This has been episode 8 of Warui Deshou's coverage of Banana Fish. the banal story. Stream of thought. We are so happy that everyone came out. Thank you, chat, for
Indeed. Thank you all very much for joining us.
For the interactivity, for the comments and feedback. You guys that are here often are a lively bunch, and we super appreciate all of you. If anyone watching this wants to help us out, we have, of course, this YouTube channel that you're watching it on. We have iTunes, a SoundCloud, a Twitter. Give us a rating and review on iTunes, or give us thumbs up. Follow subscriptions on YouTube. Follow us. Share our stuff. We would super appreciate it because, we want the Warui Deshou family to keep on growing. But even even if you are not into the iTunes reviews and what have you, we still appreciate you checking out our content. And
hell yeah,
if you want to get in touch with us, you can tweet us at Warui Deshou or email us Warui Deshou, WARUIDESHOU @gmail.com. And we get to we will read the tweets and emails and respond to them. And we get to sometimes read them on the show, but even if we don't respond, know that we're reading them all, and we appreciate it. Shadon, where can people find you specifically on Twitter if they want to get at you?
Well, you can find me at Shadon1010, and you can find me at CuriousCat.me. I say CuriousCat.me /Shadon1010 as well. Actually, is it Shadon1010? I can never remember because
I'm Curious Cat.
Yeah, I'll answer a question. I'll put a question about what is my Curious Cat. I'll send it to myself. It is actually Shadon1010. It used to be Shane, but then I got into the confusion over. I've not got Alzheimer's just yet. Give me another year, and then I will, be completely senile.
Yeah, synergize the brand. Keep it the same username, same URL.
Oh, that's just someone is sitting on @Shadon on Twitter. Hasn't actually tweeted since 2013, and I've seen the official policy, and he can't claim it back. And I'm like,
what are you supposed to do?
Well,
just wait.
To be fair, Twitter's owner is named Jack, and when it comes to doing stuff for Twitter and making it better, he's at least on brand with his actual second name, which is Jack Shit. That's what he does. Yeah. Congratulations, Jack, useless bastard. Anyway, over to you, Doc.
If you want to hang out and chat with yours truly, it's at the Subtle Doctor on Twitter. Love to talk banana fish with you all, or other things, other assorted nerderies. Hit me up. But yeah, thanks again, everybody, for checking us out. And
indeed,
until next time, for Shadon, for myself, the Subtle Doctor, embrace each other, everyone, to the ends of the universe.
Good night.